Hello, everyone. Welcome to our discussion of Chapter 3 over Kids Deserve It. I'll give everybody just a little bit of time to join us today. So, as we have people joining, if you want to go ahead and type in where you're from, I'd love to see where all of our viewers today are from. So if you want to go ahead and type in where you're located, that'd be great. Detroit, Michigan. Hey, I know you, Joe. North Carolina, Texas, California, Louisiana. Emily. Oh, love that. Home visits. Well, I wanted to say hello. My name is Todd Nesloni. I am the co-author of Kids Deserve It. Today, I am in my office doing this Periscope because we are getting ready for the first day of school on Monday. So we are ending our day today, and I want to spend some time talking about Chapter 3 of Kids Deserve It, which is Innovate, Be Different. I really enjoyed this chapter and writing this chapter with Adam. There's a couple of points of things that I want to point out and just spend some time talking about. Would love for you guys to leave comments and questions as the Periscope goes on, as well as would love for you to share this Periscope out on Twitter and Facebook by just sliding across on the side and clicking the share button, and we can get more people in here to add to the conversation. So, Innovate, Be Different. One of my favorite parts of this chapter is where we talk about how we were not born creative. So many times different educators like to talk about how, well, I'm not creative. I couldn't do that. I couldn't come up with that. And I love Eric Wall, who's a graffiti artist that actually inspired Kids Deserve It and is the reason we started. And Dave Burgess, who's our publisher, but also one of our big heroes. They both talk about how creativity isn't something we're born with. Creativity is something that we have to continually work at. And there's so many times when I get questions about things that I'm doing and people say, well, goodness, well, of course you can do stuff like that. You're just creative. You've got it. And, you know, I really have to work at all of this stuff. It's not anything that just is something that is just so easy for me. Just like any other skill, when you find an amazing athlete, that athlete is not amazing without practice. And creativity is something that has to be practiced. And so the other thing I like about this chapter is our conversation of, you know, why do we say, we're always using this frame, 21st century skills. And Adam and I laugh, like, why do people say we have to learn 21st century skills? In the 90s, nobody was saying we have to learn 20th century skills. And so we need to get that out of our vernacular and instead just start talking about ways that we can be pushing the boundaries and trying new things for kids. And I think about, you know, my story in the chapter comes from, you know, when I got hired as principal in Navasota. I was teaching in a 5th grade classroom, got a Twitter direct message of somebody who was like, hey, we're looking at you, interested in you working over here. And I said, okay. I'd entertain a conversation, talk to them, fell in love with their ideals and everything that came up, and then ended up moving to Navasota and doing that work there. And when I had to hire the entire staff, one of the first things that we had to think about and talk about was, you know, I had to hire them all from scratch. And so I hadn't met many of them. There were ones that I had hired through Skype, through Google Hangout, through all kinds of things. And so I was totally like, how am I going to get everybody learning and get them together before we even meet? And so I had the idea of doing like a summer learning series where I would push out challenges each week to my staff. And I decided the first couple of challenges was going to be all about Twitter and getting connected. And so I created videos over how to do the challenges, all kinds of things like that. And then when I put out the challenges, a couple of school districts saw what I was doing and they said, hey, can we join in? And I thought, well, sure. And then it just took off like wildfire. And by the end of the summer, we had thousands of people from all over the world who were taking part in the summer learning series. And it was a great opportunity for me to connect with some of my connected friends as well, who were able to create challenges for me. So I was able to preach about connectedness, but also use my connected friends to kind of bring up ideas. And then when I'm looking at, you know, the end of the chapter, and it talks about the risks and rewards of innovation and how Adam and I could do talks all day long about innovative ideas that didn't work, things that bombed, things that failed. There's so many different stories that we could come up with about what didn't work for us. But, you know, I talked about in last week's Periscope about getting off your island, about how it's so important to be connected with other people because you have to get out there and find people who are going to push you, who are going to challenge and do and really make you a better person. The other thing I mentioned in the book is something that Ryan McClain gave me the idea of, and he does something called Teach Like a Pirate Day. So if you haven't read Teach Like a Pirate, the book by Dave Burgess, it's an excellent read. And so he took the idea and we implemented it at my campus and we did Teach Like a Pirate Day. where the teachers got to teach something they were passionate about to the kids. So it was like sewing, skateboarding, cooking, dissecting animals. I mean, anything the teachers wanted to think about. And then at like 8:30 in the morning, I got on the announcements and said, okay, everybody, you've got schedules. Go ahead and jump out there and go to your first session. And the kids all went in the hall at the same time. And I was so terrified that they were not going to be able to do this and it was going to be chaos. It was perfect. There were no discipline issues at all. And they picked a session. When sessions filled up, the teacher put a session full sign on the door so that way the kids would know that they couldn't go to that session anymore. And it was the most exciting day because our teachers got to teach things they were passionate about that didn't necessarily have to do with the subject they taught. And so it was a pretty interesting experiment for us to do, and it was so great. Somebody said, do the sessions have to be Common Core aligned? The sessions didn't have to do anything with anything. They could pick whatever they wanted. And then I got to go around to sessions. The only complaint I got from teachers was that I did not give them a session time off to go sit in someone else's session. They wanted to go sit and learn from other people too. So I was like, well, that's easy to fix. I can definitely do that. And so when I think about the end of this chapter, one of my favorite quotes, and it's actually one that we have highlighted, and it's the one that people don't instigate great change or significantly impact lives by choosing the familiar path. The familiar path is easy. It is something that we are comfortable with, but you never make great change without being a little bit uncomfortable, because that means you're taking a risk. It also means that you are going to do things that aren't going to work, and you've got to be willing to accept that failure and learn from it. And like I always tell my students, I'm okay with you making a mistake and failing as long as you're learning from it and not repeating that same mistake over and over again. So what I wanted to do to end this Periscope is, this Periscope is about innovating and being different. And there's two ways that we've chose to innovate this year at my campus. And one of the first ways that I did was I was thinking about redesigning classroom spaces and redesigning, I talk to my teachers all the time about flexible seating and being innovative with the opportunities you offer kids of ways that they can learn in the classroom. And I thought, well, I'm the campus leader. Why am I not innovating my space? I can't just ask the teachers to innovate if I'm not going to as well. And so I have a kind of a weirdly rectangular shaped office. It's way too big. I don't know who built this school, but I don't know what they were thinking about the principal's office this size. But anyway, I thought, what I need to do is I need to redesign my space. And so what I did was I went through my entire office with help from my wife, and I redesigned my entire space. And I'm going to show you here in just a second what it looks like. But what I did was I had a big desk like every principal does, and I thought I'd never even sit at my desk. I sit at this little table that I have by the door, so that way I can just talk to people and it's more informal. So I got rid of the desk, made a great student center. So I'm going to show you what I did to my office. So this is my office, so I will walk over to the door so I can kind of show you what it looks like when I walk in. So when you walk in my office, you'll see I have a rectangular table. That's where I sit, and that's where I do all my work. It's where I meet with parents and teachers and all kinds of things like that. And then I can see them coming down our hallway. So I kind of know when people are coming and can have that conversation. But that's not the innovative part. What I really enjoy is I took the other side of my office and I made it a part of the office that is completely for kids. So what I did was I got a little table from IKEA, and I got crayons, and I have a laptop, and there's different kid games and activities for them to do. And so that way they can have a space to work. Then I bought some chairs from World Market that are really comfortable, and I have different school supplies in the blue bin. I got a new carpet from, I think it was Target. And then I have my bookshelf. I love reading and love pushing reading for kids. And so I wanted to give a space for my students that when they're having a great day and they need a space to come be celebrated, they can come to my office. Or, let me turn around. Or if they're having a rough day and they need to just get out of the room for a couple minutes or just need to have some space to chill, they have that in my office. I want my principal's office to be something that isn't things that kids are afraid to go to or kids are terrified of or anything like that. I have all kinds of books from all different kinds of levels because I want kids to come, because every morning on the announcements we advertise different books that we are all reading. And so I want kids to say, I want to go to the principal's office and pick out a book. And last year I had a bunch of kids come in here and they would just eat this up because they had the opportunity to come in here and get lots of books. And so I've got, of course, all the decorations and things, but I don't have any desk for me except for that little table right over there. And so, but I kind of designed this space. I have little inspirational posters on the wall. I found this at Hobby Lobby. Love it. It's the Bible verse that we have in our book. And then, of course, I put some pictures up of some of my friends and people that have been a part of my life and built that. And so, Rhonda, yes, the kids get to check out the books as many times as they want, all the times that they want. And so that way they can come and get those from me instead of just having the library. And so we try to push reading where they can read anywhere and get books from anybody. And we have bookshelves set up all over the place. We've got a little free library right outside of our school where we advertise for kids to go and get free books as well. The other thing that I wanted to show you is I wanted to walk you to the front of our school. So our theme this year is Let the Adventure Begin. And I knew that what I wanted to do was kind of redesign our entryway. And I've got some of the ideas. Yes, I have parent conferences in my office as well. Somebody asked that. I kind of redesigned some of the spaces. And so one of the first ideas came, of course, from my teaching hero, Ron Clark and Kim Bearden, and the way they designed their school. So what we did this year is we went onto a Canvas website and we used photos that we take all year long, and we got giant canvas prints printed of our kids doing different things around the school that we had used all year long. And we have them all over the walls in our school now of different things that our parents can see when they come to visit. So they see their kids up on here. And you can't really tell the size, I don't think, of these canvas prints, but they are huge. And that is so neat. We had Meet the Teacher last night. And the parents were just like freaking out about the photos that were there. We ordered them from easycanvasprints.com. And so we have a big, you'll probably start hearing an echo, we have a big front foyer. And the front foyer is just a space that hasn't really been utilized before and really been taken advantage of. And so we had somebody that we knew was very talented with woodwork. And since our theme this year is Let the Adventure Begin, we wanted to kind of really go with that in our front foyer. So I just gave him the idea of, I kind of think of this little log cabin or this outdoorsy feel or something like that. This is what he built. So at our entryway, he got some old wood, and let me see if I can get it. He built this entire little entryway system. So when you walk in our front doors, you get to walk through this cabin-looking thing, where it's like you walk in here, and it's all the wood, and that's the first thing they walk into. And then as I turn the camera, you will see that what they see is they come in, and there's a little fire with some chairs, because it's a campfire. And then he built this entire little log cabin house out of reclaimed wood that we had from somebody who got their fence taken down. Guys, this is like awe-inspiring. I mean, he did this in one day. And so then we got a local emporium in town to donate all of these little supplies. So it's like when you come in here, you are in a little log cabin. And his name's Charlie Brower, and he is the boyfriend of one of our teachers. And he did this, and then we had our amazingly talented artistic librarian. She designed our little entryways with little fired up for learning with a what is that? A sleeping bag and a little fire, as well as some fishing stuff. And then she painted all these little signs of these kids, which is all over the library because she's super artistic. And we did this adventure awaits, read a book. And so we did the whole adventure theme, but our families just absolutely loved walking in and seeing this log cabin. And so when I thought about, as I was going to talk about innovate and be different, I wanted to make sure that I talked about more than just what we can do in the classroom, and how when we think about innovating and when we think about being different, we have to think about ways that we can innovate and be different in every space, whether you're an administrator in your office, or whether you are designing the front foyer of your school, or you're re-looking at the reception area. There's different ways that we can be innovative and think differently in all those and utilize the skill sets of people that work at our campus, because that's what we have to do. We have to continually push the boundaries and do things differently. And to answer one question real quick, if you have any other questions, throw them in there. Zelda says, how do you use the cabin? We don't really know how we're going to use it yet. I know kindergarten teachers said, hey, can we use that as an incentive? Like if they have a great day, they can go read in the cabin. And I was like, yeah, awesome. But we just wanted to show parents that we're willing to go above what's expected. And we weren't just going to put a bulletin board up on the wall and think that was good enough anymore. We wanted to blow their minds, because I always tell my kids, think outside the box, be creative, blow my mind. And I want to do the same thing for our parents. And so it was really neat yesterday during Meet the Teacher to see them walk in and go, wow, look at that. And to see all those kind of things. As Aaron Marvel, I'm sure, is messing with my light switch. And so, we just wanted to, I'm going to get him on Periscope now. He wants to act a fool. That is Melissa Bunker, my assistant principal, and I can't get her on camera. I can hear Aaron listening to my Periscope. And, hey, Paul says hello, Aaron. So that is my admin team who has been stalking me while I've been doing this, and then they were flashing my lights because I saw them run around a corner when I was doing something too. So that's what we do on a Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But I hope that all of you take this chapter, and this year, as you do things at your school, try to find a way to be innovative and do something different, and please share it out on social media using the hashtag KidsDeserveIt so that we can all learn from you as well. Make sure you join our chat every Wednesday at 8 p.m., and I will be back next Wednesday during my regular time to do Periscopes at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This one had to be rescheduled because of some things that came up, but hope you all have a great weekend, and our first day of school is on Monday. Hope your first day as it comes up or just happened is going to be a great one as well. Talk to you next week about Chapter 4.